my own compensation, and hopefully I will be giving some kind of compensation to the buyer's brokers, because they're taking their time to take buyers to many houses, and now they settled on your house. They put in a lot of work with those buyers. They need to be compensated. So hopefully, in my listings, I will be offering some kind of compensation. Again, that's negotiable between the sellers and myself, so we will determine what that is. Again, not on the MLS, but negotiation and consultation. The buy agreement assists in understanding services and value. It's 5 pages long, tells a buyer how you're going to work for them this whole time that you're working with them. And it can be, we can only have an agreement for 3 months. And then we have to actually renegotiate that if they want to keep working. If they can't find a house in 3 months, we'll just do an extension with that. How do brokers get paid now? They can get paid directly by the buyers, and that's probably going to happen. I've never had to ever have one of my buyers pay me a commission, but that may be, I may have to do that in the future. Seller compensation, seller can agree to pay the compensation or a portion of the compensation or part of the listing broker's compensation. I don't think that's going to happen because most brokers negotiate their own commission on the seller side. They'll do another commission for the buyer. Okay, so where are we now? Okay, you're not going to be able to read this. So, okay, I'm going to kind of walk you through it. They're on your table, and I put 4 copies on a table because I thought 2 people could look at one form together. Dennis did warn me about this. But this is the first page that a buyer or a seller ever sees, and it's called the disclosure regarding real estate agencies. And you can represent a client as a seller's agent, a buyer's agent, or you can do a dual agency, an agency representing both seller and buyer. I never do a dual agency. It's too much of a controversy because if you read the descriptions of what you're doing in each one of those agencies, they're almost identical. So if I have a listing, I do not write an offer for a buyer. And at the very end of that, you'll see this many times, the real estate broker commissions are not set by law and are fully negotiable. That's just, oh, it's in many forms and every place is on our documents. So we negotiate all the time. Next page, don't read that one. I can't even read that. That's the legalese. This comes from the civil, this comes from the government, from California. This is what agency is all about, and this is how it's formatted. I don't think I even read the whole thing. So it's a lot of legalese. Oh, let's go to the next one. Okay, this is the California purchase agreement. I'm only going to do 2 pages. It's 17 pages. And, okay, we're going to do this as, I'm just going to be the buyer's agent here. I'm not even saying I'm never going to be the seller's agent and the buyer's agent. The price is $1.2 million. $1.2 million in this market is a beginner property. It's probably could be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe 1,200, 1,400 square feet, somewhat updated, not really updated all the way. It's going to be a 30-day escrow, and I put this together on September 24th. I'm going to want that seller to tell me about that they're going to accept my offer, counter my offer by the next day. And my buyer is going to put 80% down, so that's $960,000. And then they're going to have $204,000 at the very end to complete the purchase of $1.2 million. So that buyer is putting $240,000 down. Now I'm going to ask that buyer to pay me a commission too. That may be a little difficult because the buyer may be using most of their funds. So do I want to do I want them to pay me? Even 1% on that is $12,000. 2% is $24,000. That's going to be not leaving them much of a slush there for any kind of emergency that they may have. Okay, and this is the kicker on page 2. It's called G3. And then seller agrees to pay the obligation of the buyer to compensate buyer's broker under a separate agreement. And that's an agreement I have with my buyer that says they're going to pay me some kind of commission. And that buyer can actually tell me to call the homes that they want to see and see what the seller commission is going to be for the buyer's broker. And if it's not what they have committed to me, they could say, we'll pass on that house. If they don't really want to pay that commission, so they're trying to find sellers that are willing to commit to some kind of commission for the buyer's side. Hope all of this is making sense. Some of it doesn't even make sense to us nowadays. This buyer is fully underwritten and approved, so they're taking away their loan contingency and the appraisal contingency because I've given them the comps and they feel like the house will appraise, so they're willing to take that off. Contingencies are very important because the less contingencies you have, the more the seller loves you. Investigation of the property, 10 days. Insurance now, we put some days in there for insurance because in a lot of places nowadays that insurance is very costly and it may in some times take a buyer out of buying that house because it's above what they can afford on a monthly basis. Okay, go to the next one. So this is the little jewel that the seller payments to buyer's broker addendum. So this goes with that contract, and it said, seller's payment to buyer's real estate brokerage, seller agrees to pay 2.5%, which is going to cover what the buyer committed that they were going to pay me. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, this is that little form that I said is 5 pages long, the buyer representation and broker compensation agreement. And this has to be signed by the buyer before I even show them a house. So this comes to them before they even decided which house that they're going to buy. And I have a three-month period on there. They said they want to stay in Alameda, they want to be in Livermore, they want no pool. Then it says in the middle, where you can't really read it there, it again says, broker compensation notice. The amount of real estate commissions is not fixed by law. They are set by each broker individually and may be negotiable between buyer and broker. See attached broker compensation advisory form. I don't even have that. That's just another extra piece of paper. So the amount of commission is 2.5%. This is what the buyer is saying they're willing to pay me, and they're hoping they will find a seller of a house that they want to step it up and pay that commission so they don't have to. Because sellers want the highest price on their property, and buyers want a house that's going to fit their financial needs. It's a house that actually they can afford. So they may not be the same thing. Okay, next page. Okay, I'm going to read this to you. This is called broker involvement. What does broker involvement mean? The broker physically entered and was shown the property by the broker. The broker showed the property to a buyer virtually. The broker submitted to seller a signed written offer from buyer to acquire, lease, exchange, or obtain an option. The broker performed a market analysis related to the property, reviewed property-specific documents. The property was introduced to buyer by the broker, or one for which broker acted on buyer's behalf. So there's a lot of things that if you touch that buyer with different things, you have to give them this five-page form. Go to the next one. this is an addendum to buyer presentation agreement. They may change their minds and they say, we haven't found anything. We want to extend our date out, and we actually want to change that amount that we said that the broker had to pay. We want you to show us everything, and we don't care if there is a broker payment for the buyer. Well, that's convinced them that maybe they will be paying the entire commission. So, okay, we're getting through this. Oh, we're almost time. The exclusive listing agreement. It's 17 pages long. Since we only have a few, we're not even going to do probably 2 pages, except maybe I'll say, this is the Brian seller. He's listed his house for $1.2 million. He signed the seller agency agreement. He's agreed in writing to do 2.5% for the buyers, for the seller. And then you go to the next page, and it says that they're going to pay 2.5% to the buyer's broker. So fine, this works. But these are all just fictitious, you know that. So every document that you sign with a seller and a buyer is going to have some negotiation in it. Okay, we're going to be punished if we don't do what this new ruling says. So no commission can be mentioned. Those are the fees we're going to have to pay. Seller's concessions or credit information documents, can't put that anywhere, can't put $10,000 for termite repairs or anything like that. MLS participants and real estate subscribers working with the buyer, let's enter into that written agreement before you do anything that would make them have to pay you a commission. And then also, because we're signing this agreement with the buyer, the seller's agent can request that we show them what the buyer agreed to. If the seller, for some reason, said they were going to pay 3%, they changed their minds, which sometimes sellers do. If I put 2.5%, that's all I get. I don't get the other percent. So anyway, all right, we're almost there. This, right before we ended up at 8:17, my broker went in and looked at where the commissions were. So at that point in time, there was still the 2.5 or higher was 63%, 72.5, 71%, 75.5. So that's where I got the 2.5. But again, all of that is negotiable. And next one. This is when people come to your open houses, and because buyers have heard about this buyer-broker agreement, the first thing they ask you is, do we have to sign that buyer-broker agreement for you to show us the house? No, because at that point in time, I'm representing my seller trying to get that house sold. So no, you don't have to sign anything with me. Just come in and enjoy the house. If they would want to buy it, then I'd have to refer them to another agent in my office because I don't do dual agency. Okay, I think that's it.
Okay, time for one question. All right, you right here in front, sir. Let's ask your one question here.
Is it about time to retire?
You know, it is so funny because my office, we knew this was coming down the pike for actually since about the first of the year. Every meeting that we've had, we have discussed these things because it's such a dramatic change from what we've had to do in the past. I mean, basically we all work so hard working for our sellers and our buyers. You know, we lose sleep. I lose pounds sometimes because something is not going together like I really want it. So anyway, you know, everything in real estate, it changes. We have to adjust. I will adjust. I don't have any choice about it. So if it gets too painful, I guess you would retire, but
You go to Maui.
I am going soon, so.
Thank you very much. Wow. I'm never going to move. Now, die in the house that I have. All right, you get your choice of a white wine, a red wine, or olive oil. Which olive oil for her? She drinks enough on the job. All right. Next week we will have a Rotary Grants, and so come out and see what your contributions do. All of the good work in the community. Come on, it's always a wonderful time. And with that, we're going to be in the big room. Yes, we will. So follow the little signs, and we are done.